this beauty here, 67 Camaro convertible. This is a pretty cool car. So this auction's no reserve. It's April 12th. Bring cash. So this 67 Camaro is going up then, along with all the rest of them. So it's going to be a wild mother auction, and I hope everyone spends all their money on all the other cars. Yeah, this is the one I want. Come on down on the auction and check out all the rest of them. April 12th. Today is paint day. It was supposed to be Mike and I spraying this yesterday afternoon, but surprise, surprise, he had 11 things to do, so we didn't have a chance. So Cass and I were going to shoot it, but she is all tied up with other stuff today. I must say, her job on masking up these pinstripes, phenomenal. That's incredibly difficult. And we have good tape. It hasn't lifted on any of the corners. This is great stuff. And that's not an easy job. You have to be very meticulous. And there's no hiding if you have an error. So she did a beautiful job. So now, the issue, not an issue, but when you watch this, I'm going to be spraying sealer, but I'm going to keep the sealer away from the stripe area. I want to have as little build on the color as possible. Now, there's nothing wrong with having an edge between your colors. It's pretty typical. Mike wants no edge or very little edge. A lot of people just use decals. There's an edge. There's nothing wrong with that. But in order to make him happier, I'm going to try to get as little edge between the colors as possible. So I will spray sealer up to about here. Now I run the risk of having a textured edge or dry spray. We're going to see how it sprays. I may chicken out while I'm spraying it, but if it's laying down nice and I can blend it off gently, then I will avoid putting sealer next to the stripes so that the buildup within the stripes is strictly the base coat. Now base coat is way thinner than clear. It's just a color. Depending on different manufacturers, all your chemical resistancy, all your ultraviolet screeners, all the really cool important stuff is in the clear coat. So the base is just a color. So I am going to seal the whole car, trying to stay away from this. Let that paint dry really well. After, seal it, paint it. Then, now this is something that's real important. Cassidy has left me these loose ends, you see here. So now we're going to have fresh paint everywhere, and I've got to come in and I've got to unmask that without screwing up the paint. And once I've done that, I want to tack it off, and then I'll start clear coating. Also something you find with clear coat, anytime you're around an edge, any kind of a body line or a stripe, the clear coat will tend to build up on those edges, and the minute you turn your back, it'll run. So I have to be careful around these edges. It would be better if I was a guy in a collision shop who sprayed 7 jobs a day and who is an absolute phenomenal painter. I paint a car every couple months maybe. So I have to be cautious. I do want to get a good build of clear on this because we'll probably sand and polish the top, and I want to get that as close to smooth as I can. So the top part won't be too bad, but this area here, I know it's going to hang up on me and build and try to run. Now, I've heard of some guys who've had runs before. You get a run near the edge, you load it up and let it run right off the panel. So if you go in the paint booth in the morning and you see a bunch of spots all the way around the car, sometimes that's where a guy might have run the clear right off the panel. It's way easier than sanding out a run. So the car is good. She's done an excellent job of prepping it. And we both did a lot of work on this car. So it's almost unfair that I take the glory and spray it, but I'm going to. So I'm really excited about this. I got to wet down the floor. I've wiped down the car with the final wash. I will do that again, and then I'm going to tack the car, and then I will spray the sealer. The sealer is not a typical sealer I'm using. I may even give JF a call and ask a question about the brand I'm using today. But here we go. You won't be able to hear me over the fan, so I wanted to explain what's going on. It's a coat of sealer, probably 3 coats of paint, maybe 4, and then let it sit for a while. And then I'll unmask all these stripes. Very important that she left me these tails here. We'll wipe it down and then start dumping clear on it. I just want this to look awesome. I'd like it to look good before sand and polish, but sanding and polishing, I could paint this with a roller and still make it look like a show car. But preferably very little sanding if I can lay down a decent coat. That's always the challenge, right? And you can do everything right and stuff can go sideways. So I will come back in here and fire it back up when I'm getting ready to shoot sealer, and the noisy old fans will be going. I think this will be kind of an interesting day. And Mike's gone for 2 weeks. So I have 2 weeks to fix up any errors. Okay, let's turn that. Oh, and I almost forgot. Meanwhile, Phil spent yesterday doing assembly and windows on the Roadrunner, and today he's helping us out with the GTO. He's cutting a back window out of Lexan, putting in the front windshield, getting all the parts in the car, and putting some on the car. And then he's going to help me move cars around after I get this painted. I'm actually going to start on that 67 Camaro, and I'll give you a show of that after I'm finished with this. So it's going to be a really cool couple days. I figure I should explain a little bit more about why this is such an amazing masking job. If you stretch your tape too much, it'll pull back on you. So if you look at the bottom of this V, nothing is pulled back. You have one little spot there. It's down in the groove. But you look at the front, she has her tape running right down with the paper deep into the groove, and it's not pulling back. She's left the tail for us. Everything is tight. It's not overstretched. If you pull it too tight, the line will get thin because this is stretchy tape. So it's put on there just right. It's not just a nice pinstriping job. It's super. Like, look at that, straight tight. It hasn't pulled up or lifted at all. So this saves a lot of time, because when I unmask this, if there is a tiny leak anywhere where the blue paint gets underneath onto the white, then I got to stop and I got to mix up some white and mask off a tiny little area and airbrush and then unmask that. So it's really important to really do an excellent job of the pinstriping, and this is an excellent job. So got the floor wetted down, tacked the car off. This is potentially the last paint job I'll be doing at Rust Bros, so I figured I should go over a couple other things I may have covered before or may not. When I'm spraying a panel, I will generally do the edges first, like underneath my rocker, around my wheel opening, under the quarter, because those are very easy to miss. So I'll hit them first and then work my way up the panel. And then Same when I go forward, start at the bottom, work my way up. I want to make sure I don't miss any edges. Those rockers aren't just flat underneath, they go up and then in. So that's an incredibly difficult place on the best of times to get paint on. So I will probably be down there turning the gun halfway upside down, trying to make sure I get that and work my way up. If I get a couple good coats on it, then I might ignore it for a coat as long as it's covered, and then hit it on the last coat. So we're talking probably 3 coats of paint, maybe a drop coat after that, and 3 to 4 coats of clear, depending how it's going. But I'm guessing 4 because we want to bury as much of the stripe as we can, though we're not going to be able to bury all of it. That's just how it works. Maybe when we sand and polish it, it'll go. So you can watch for that. You've got to get all the edges, fill in the panel, move on. Where do I start? I start on the passenger quarter panel, work my way back and around, so that if I have dry spray, which means if I start over there and I'm painting around, when I get back and work my way down the passenger door, the quarter panel is already going to be dry. So my paint may leave a bit of a haze or a dry spray there. Easy to deal with on the passenger side, way over there. So that's where I'm going to start, work my way across, up, across the front, passenger door. There's a method to my madness. Everyone has their own style. This is what I'll be doing. And best of luck to me. I've done a couple coats here. I'm really happy. It seems to be even. I've just wandered it around to make sure I don't have any thin spots. I think this will be my last coat. Right now, I currently don't see any dust problems. It's super clean. I'm going to again concentrate on my edges on the last coat, but I didn't see any spot that I missed so far. So far it's going pretty good. Just want to get through this coat. And then we wait, and we unmask all the white stripes and hit the clear. going to start unmasking it before it gets too dry. It'll be very sad if I screw this up. And Cassidy would probably smack me, so I got to carefully unmask it. Okay, now here's what we don't want. There's some bleed through, you can see the blue, but because she clear coated it, I'm going to be able to wash that off with final wash, and I won't have to reshoot anything. So that's why it may seem to take a bit longer, but stuff can happen, and now it's not a big deal. Up so you can see how that goes. Definitely nerve-wracking, and I see a potential issue here. Casing's a little up here. See? Several pieces when she was doing it. It would have been way tougher, but she managed to go all the way down and then across and up with one joint, so that makes it so much easier to unmask, and as you can see, that's fairly difficult. Okay, now the clear coat. Really pleased so far. This is what it comes down to. Here we go. Bleed through anywhere. The car is clean so far. There really isn't any dust. This is where everything can go sideways on me, but I'm gonna have a good time. This is the fun part, and I'm gonna give it 3 and probably 4 coats. Special attention to my edges as always, and I'm going to move faster with pretty heavy overlap and see how that works out for me. By the time I get around here, I may change that, but I really want to get a good flow. I wouldn't say this publicly, but I think it's exceptional finish. Very limited dust, and dig the lack of any real texture. There is subtly, but I mean, it's freaking smooth. She did an amazing job on the stripes. This is where I did my stop and start, so there's a little bit of texture there. But pretty freaking cool, man. If I do say so myself, and we'll see in the morning, it'll shrink up and tighten up a bit. But it looks pretty freaking good. It's so good, I may just wait till day after tomorrow, lightly scuff the hood and the trunk, and give them one final shot of clear, because I think there's so little of an edge that I could make it absolutely smooth. Anyhow, there it is. I really wanted to try to get rid of the little lines between the stripes. So I sanded down, well, actually, Cassidy prepped this for me. So she did a very nice job. Got it all prepped and ready. So today all I had to do was walk in and pull the trigger. Now the longer you have a car in the booth and you do a bunch of sanding, the more apt you are to get some dust. I can live with it because I'm going to polish this. But what I wanted is oh yeah, that's smooth. Yeah, a little light sanding, polish. You're not going to feel that ridge in between. Now that was a lot of work. I had to mask off the hood and the trunk and the rear deck. So that was a lot of work. But I'm telling you, it was freaking worth it. Once we get this sanded down, oh yeah. Yeah. Look at that. You can see in the light even. That's perfectly smooth already without sanding. A little more will make it that much better. So, did get some dust. It's gonna happen when you got a paint job open for 24 hours in a booth. You wash it down, do everything you can, but very limited. Anyhow, all in all, pretty freaking good day. I'm a happy guy. Cheers.